So one of the wonderful things about inversions is that they make the inner body feel lighter. We spend most of our time being upright, and time and gravity kind of takes its toll. Gravity pulls down on the organs, down on the circulatory system, and it can kind of leave us feeling kind of heavy. So just getting upside down helps with the circulatory system in an obvious way, but it also is asking your muscles to hold you in the opposite shape of what you're used to. And then when we get back up on our feet, we have that sense of lift in our body, in our muscles. Who wouldn't like to feel a little bit more uplifted, right? So we'll go with that as an intention of our practice for today, or any reason why you're here. Please hold it close to your heart. Go ahead and close your eyes. Turn inward and observe your breath. Watch as it flows in through the nose and swirls into the body. And then notice it moving back out through the nose. Use your breath to find some awareness and some length through your spine, up through the crown of your head. And with your imagination, find the very center of your head. So if you were to draw a line from the third eye back to that little divot at the base of your neck, and then draw a line from the roof of your mouth up through the crown of the head, that place where those lines intersect, can you find that? It's the center of the head. With your awareness there, imagine a light. Maybe it's like a matchstick has been lit, or it's just a soft light glowing in the center of your head. Can you see that? So go with that visual in a way that creates a sense of expansion, a sense of space in the mind, a lift and a lengthening upwards through the crown. Simply spend these first couple of minutes sitting, bringing our awareness into our spine and up through the head. What we begin to find out is this place in stillness is also a place where there's no pressure, only expansion, and that's why it feels so good to simply sit, to let all the energy of the day and all the bustling around kind of settle. Please bring your palms together in front of your heart. Keep the heart lifted into the thumbs and the fingers shining into the middle of the room. We'll chant Om 3 times to begin. Take a deep breath in, feeling the back of the diaphragm open. Om. to your thighs. And blink your eyes open. So I have a horse, and he's about a year into being trained for being kind of a wild thing. He's at this place where he has this amazing stillness. Like he'll ground tie and just stand there and not move a muscle. And people are kind of amazed by that, and they even want to be close to him because he kind of just exudes this like quiet, big energy. The truth is that he learned that. I taught him that because I made stillness the reward, knowing that it actually would be a really good thing because it is for all of us. And so it's like his apple. And so when he does something really well, we just get to stop. And when he's stopped, I never aggravate him, and I never push on him, I never pull on him. And that's just become the reward. And so he knows that like he's doing something really good, and he knows that he's not being bothered in any way. And just being still, just standing perfectly still has become like his happy place. And he literally exudes this kind of happy energy. He just stands there being perfectly still. And if you met him in the beginning as a wild man, he was anything but still. And so I'm kind of inspired by that like just doing nothing could be such a profound reward, or not moving around too much, not having any pressure on us could be something that makes us happy. But what a radical thought, right? Anyway, let's begin. We're not going to just sit the whole time, but when we get to like headstand, I hope that we'll find that kind of stillness, right? Go ahead and lay on your backs. And as if you've fallen over backward in a chair, bend your knees to 90 degrees like this. Your knees are right above your hips, and your heels right behind your knees. Then place your palms on the top of your thighs at knee height. And take a deep breath in, feeling the diaphragm move down and widen to the floor. And then exhale and press your hands and knees together to feel the pit of the abdomen engage. Okay? And then inhale, expand, back body wide into the floor. And exhale, push your hands, knees, heels all together in one line and tone the pit of the abdomen. Keep going like that. So as you inhale, you can let the pressure off. And then exhale, go a little deeper into your core, into transverse abdominals. And what I find really helps, if you're not quite feeling it, is to exhale through the lips like you're blowing out a candle. And tone every muscle right there between the navel and the pubic bone. A couple more like that, just locating our core strength. When the core's awake, the breath is more vibrant and alive. Good. And then release. Stretch your legs out on the floor. Bring your big toe mounts together. Press through your heels. Stretch your arms overhead. Notice if your low back is arching off the floor and your ribs are sprung forward. Inhale and reverse that. So take the back body toward the floor, all the way back. Then exhale, tone the pit of the abdomen. Here, you can blow out through the lips. And maybe you can imagine that you're pulling up a zipper and a drawstring at the same time to really fire up the lower belly. And once you've found that core support, lift your heels off the floor and your head off the floor, coming into Ardha Navasana. And you lift up just as much as you need to get the back on the floor, to take the arch out. Okay? Let's hold for a few breaths. Inhale, back body forward. Exhale, strong low belly. A couple more rounds. Good. And release. Take a couple of breaths there. So now we're going to split the legs and just kind of wake this up a little bit. clap our hands behind the leg like this. So we want to find that lever again where the back body is on the floor, arms are overhead. And then wherever that's at, so if I go this low, my back starts to arch. It's not a good alignment. So come on. Until my back's on the floor. Okay, that's my baseline for now. And then like this, watch. Clap. Left. Clap. Then both. Toe touch. And then switch sides. So I led with right side, I lead with left. Then right. Then both. And go to failure. I don't think it's going to take very long to wear your belly right there, okay? Doesn't take very long for mine. Let's go. Remember to switch legs, the leading leg. Each round. All right. Good. Okay. And bring your knees to your chest and begin to rock front to back. And we'll come to our hands and knees. So in preparation for downward facing dog, look down between your hands and make sure that the center of the wrist is outer shoulder distance apart and that your wrist and your second fingers are facing straight forwards. Then press down through the thumb pads and all of the knuckle mounds. Grip the floor with your fingertips and firm your arms. Squeeze your forearms toward each other. Move your chest just a little forward and wide as you lift your chin and bring your shoulder blades onto the back. Keeping that, curl your toes under and lift hips high, downward facing dog pose. So in this first downward dog, if you're feeling stiff, particularly in your low back, you are welcome to bend your knees. Actually, you all look great. So I would say, lift your sit bones and lengthen your heels to the floor. And the only one not doing this is the dog. Just lengthen your breaths, lengthen through your spines. And what I want you to think about here, which is going to be the same thing that I keep asking for in inversions, is for you to lift your inner armpits up, move them forward, and then externally rotate your upper arms away from each other so that the upper back spreads. And without letting those inner armpits drop at all, move the upper back in, so in toward the legs, I guess you could say, but keep the armpits moving forward. So this is starting to take us into the seam of the upper back, into that groove. Good. Exhale and walk your feet forward to the top of mat, Uttanasana, and bow. Straighten your legs if you can, firming the muscles of the bones to the leg bones. And lengthen your legs from the pelvis down into the feet. So much, so energetically, that it helps the spine let go. And then much like downward dog, I want you to move your armpits forward, even your elbows forward, and your chest back towards your legs. As you go deep in this pose, remember to keep your belly lifting away from your knees. Your knees pulling up towards your belly. Move your chest in. Lift your shoulder blades a little, shoulder blades up, and let the neck lengthen. Good. And then go ahead and walk back into downward facing dog.
force. Lift your armpits and rotate your arms away from your ears, then move your chest. And then keeping all of that, lift both heels up and lean them over to your right. So kind of flop over to the side there. Then lengthen through the left side. Keep pushing with the right arm, lengthen through the left side, all the way up to the hips. Maybe you feel this a little bit more in your side body and your flanks. And then switch sides, lift heels up, and let them sway over to the right. Keep pushing with the left arm and pulling up through the hips. Come back to center. Hips high. Push with the arms. All right, and now step your right foot forward between your hands and lower your left knee down onto the floor. You can also put the knee on a blanket if needed. Okay, and bring your hands up to your hips into an Anjaneyasana lunge pose. All right, and take a few deep breaths as you lift your chest up, opening across the collarbones. And exhaling, settle down into the hips somewhat. Now, firm your legs toward each other so your inner thighs tone. And move your left thigh back away from the pose as you pull the hip points up toward the ribs and stretch the inner thigh. Keeping that, interlace your fingers all the way down to the pinky webbings and press your palms out in front of your chest. Good. Inhale, stretch your arms overhead with fingers bound. And to exhale, keep pulling the front of the belly up as you sit deeper into the lunge and stretch up through your arms, straight elbows. Now here, just like downward dog, I want you to think about moving your inner armpit back faster than your outer shoulder, so your armpits get more hollow. And turn your triceps toward each other, spreading the base of the neck. Push up through the palms and pull away the wrists out from each other. Feel how that brings the shoulder blades on the back. Good. And then, with hands still clasped, take them behind your head. Inhale, lift up to the side chest, lengthen the neck, and exhale, press the head back. Now also pull the inner armpit back here. Keeping the inner armpit hollow back, lift the chest, lift the chin, and start stretching the elbows up toward the sky as you curl your head back. Keeping this little back bend, release the fingers, stretch your arms back behind your ears. Full stretch. Nice. And then release your hands to the floor and step back into downward facing dog. You can move your blanket over for the other knee. And then step your left foot forward between your hands. Lower your right knee down to that blanket. And come up, hands on hips. Breathe in and out, finding that length, that width through the upper body. And pull the legs toward each other a little bit to tone the thighs. Move the right thigh back a little. And lift the front of the pelvis up so it stretches the thigh along the psoas. Keeping that, interlace your hands opposite finger on top, and then press your palms in front of you. Inhale, reach your arms above your head. Exhale, keep pulling the belly up as you root down into your feet and stretch up through your arms. Good. Move the armpits back and the chest forward. Keep stretching up and up and up with this just desire to feel like. And clasp your hands behind your head, point your elbows forward, so this is like right here. And then push your head back into your hands. Pull the elbows, the inner armpits back. And then keep the inner armpits back and stretch the elbows up again. Curl back, keep stretching that thigh. And keeping the head back, stretch the arms behind your ears. Nice. And release your hands to the floor. Step back, downward. Okay. Then go ahead and walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, move up halfway. So you can bring your hands to your thighs if need be. Because I want you to focus on getting some length of the spine until your back is flat. And then keeping that length, pull the belly up and soften the chest down as you pull your shoulders onto your back. And lift the chin slightly and lengthen your spine. Keep that length of the spine and come on up to standing. Okay, so here, let's find a place at the wall. You won't need to bring your mat over, not yet. I'll show you. This is kind of maybe a butt shot because of where the camera's at, but I think you'll get it. The first thing I want to do is just downward dog on the wall. For that, make sure that your shoulders are a little higher than your hips and your hands are a little higher than your shoulders as you take this shape that's 90 degrees of flexion of the hips, like this. Probably easier to just show you, okay? Now, what I want you to think about the most here is those armpits lifting up, and I can really get that if I isometrically pull my hands down. Isometric means do the action, but don't actually move your hand. Just kind of pull the wall down. Lift the armpits up, and then move the upper back down. Okay, so armpits up, shoulders up, and spine toward the floor. All right, so that's the first one. Go ahead and find a place at the wall. I think probably even against that bookshelf could work out. Yeah. Good. So push your hands fully into the wall, move your hips back, long spine. Now, without moving your hands, pull the hands down the wall like you're sliding your feet toward the floor. And lift your inner armpits up, like you're hooking them over the backs of your ears. That's it. Keeping the shoulders lifted like that, move the upper back in between your shoulder blades. And then from that deeper heart space, push through the hands and lengthen back through the spine. Okay, and release. Now we'll make this partial uttanasana at the wall, pyramid pose at the wall by stepping one foot forward, like this. So I'm doing the same thing with the hands. And as you go lower, you kind of have to move back. So figure out a place that feels like a good start for you, where you can really work all the actions in the pose. Now, same thing will be true about lifting the shoulders and softening the spine. But now let's add the leg stuff. So the legs are straight. And then the back leg internally rotates. So the inner thigh should move back. Then the hamstring widens a little bit as the outer hip comes forward. Basically, I just described a turn, or internal rotation. And then the front thigh should be straight, and the outer hip rolls back, and the femur sucks into the socket there, and even the sit bone pulls toward the tail. And we just find the refinement of those two things such that it makes the hips level, as much as we can feel it level, all right? So partial uttanasana at the wall. So start by pushing the wall away and figuring out how low you want to go, knowing that you'll have to keep stepping back. Lift your armpits up. Move your chest down. Your hips back.
Make your legs straight and firm. And focusing on the back leg, roll that left inner thigh back as you widen the hamstrings and turn the outer hip a little toward the wall. Notice how that spreads the sacrum. Then match that by pulling the outer right hip back, femur in, and sit bone toward the tail. When those two rotations are in balance, we find Mula Bandha, or the pelvic floor toning on the exhales. And from that root of the exhale, lengthen through your feet, through your arms, through your spine. And switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Extend the arms, lift the shoulders, move the chest down. Keep all out. Straighten your legs. Internally rotate the back leg, externally rotate the front leg. Get a feel, kind of a proprioceptive feel, that your hips are square. You all actually look great, I would tell you. As much as we think our hips are straight, then someone tells us, like, oh no, you need to maybe keep internally rotating the back leg, pulling the outer left side back. Awesome. Okay, release. And then go ahead and come back to your mat. So do that same pose now, kind of in the middle of the room, freestyle. Very exciting stuff here. So stand in the middle of your mat. Tadasana, bring your fingertips together at the chest. Bend your knees a little. Then inhale and jump your feet apart. Make sure that your feet are under your wrists. Actually, maybe a little short, come to think of it. Then turn your right foot out. Turn your left foot in quite a bit so the hips again are more squared toward the front of the mat, just like when you were at the wall. Okay, and you can bring your hands up to your hips here. And let's adjust that. So straighten your legs. Internally rotate the back thigh. Pull the outer right hip back in and even a little forward as you lift the front rim of the pelvis and lean back. Lengthen the front spine, pull the shoulders back. Then exhale and fold forward at the hips, keeping the spine nice and long, almost like a whip, snapping forward. And then bring your hands down to the floor. Pause, inhale, straighten the legs, lengthen the spine. Rotate your legs in a way that squares the hips. And then exhale, begin to fold forward. Think about lengthening your spine and moving the chest down towards your foot. If you're feeling that your legs can really hold you here, walk your hands forward like downward dog. Yeah, walk them forward. As much as the hands are walking forward, they can also keep pushing the hips back. That's awesome. Move the chest down. Keep your weight on your front big toe mount. And of course the back heel. Work a couple more breaths. Then inhale, place hands on hips. And exhale, root down through your back heel as you come the rest of the way up to standing. From where you are now, turn your feet to the second side. Make sure you haven't shortened your stance. Turn your pelvis to the left, generally. Straighten your legs. Internally rotate the back thigh. Compact the front hip in, down, a little forward as you lift the belly. Then lift the chest up and wide lean back. Exhale, fold forward. Kind of leading with the nose, stretching the spine forward. Good. And then bring your hands to the floor. Press your feet down on your knee. Keep those legs straight. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Square the hips. And exhale, fold. You're going to walk your hands forward. Think down dog. Lift the inner armpits up. Move the chest toward the legs. To come out. Inhale, look up, hands on hips. Root down into the feet as you rise up. Turn your feet to face forward. And exhale, jump them back together. Tadasana. Release your arms. Okay, so now let's move to the wall with a mat. And we'll put the short end of the mat against the wall. And watch here. So, I wish I had a side view with the camera at the wall so that I could just show you it all at once, but I just want you to be really clear on the back. We are going to sit up against the wall, but we'll explore kind of a cat-cow spine, so meaning like flexion, really rounded, chin to chest kind of thing, and then extension, like this. And in extension, I want the top of the sacrum to press in, and for none of my vertebrae to be poking back, especially in the low back. That will happen. Move the upper back in, lift the chest, pull the shoulders back. So we've been working on that a lot, but we're actually going to do that on the wall. So this first stage kind of reminds me of like in the movies when you see like the old cowboy like doing a siesta against the wall. So you got to imagine that the brim of your hat is like all the way down here and your chin is to your chest. And you're just kind of letting all the pressure off. Then you uncoil the spine and use your head. Push the head into the wall to bring the low back in, the chest forward, and the spine into extension like that. And then we're going to go back and forth, just kind of rounding, go really slow, back to the wall, chin to chest. That's an exhale. And then inhale, you can pull a little at the knees and extend the spine. So we're using the wall, but I'm just doing cat-cow. That extra push of the head really helps you get your low back in. Oh, and I should have said, you don't have to be flat against the wall, so you can bring the hips forward away from the wall just a little bit. Otherwise, it will be, this next part will be very hard. I'd be really impressed if you could do it with your back flat against the wall. Go slow, enjoy it. We love this for what we call tech neck. Okay, and then look here, we're going to build on this. Here's why you don't want your hips all the way back to the wall. This is boat pose. So in boat pose, we want the spine in extension, right? So not curled forward like this. So we can use our heads, we get that part. Then you can pull with the hands on the knees. I'm sorry, don't pull with the hands on the knees, put the hands on the floor. You'll need to put the hands on the floor. See if you can pick your feet up even a little bit without rounding your back. If you can keep that low back strong, then start straightening the knees. This is not as easy as it looks. And just see if you're too close to the wall. Moving a little forward with the hips will make a big difference. Yeah, that's it. So yep, boat pose at the wall. Pushing the head back to keep the low back in. Okay. You can keep working on that and listen or watch. But we'll go from that to an L-shaped handstand. And kind of in one cool move here. Like this. I want to be sure that my armpits are moving forward, my chest is moving toward the wall, my hips are lifting up. And then step down, crisscross, sit down, do boat pose, crisscross, do a handstand. Okay, come down, crisscross. It's actually kind of fun and will make you feel young again. How's that? Come on by. No, I'm just kidding. So give it a go, or just do one pose at a time. Feel free to slow things down if you need to stay safe. Yep. What we're really repeating here, just with a very different relationship to gravity, is the shape where our hips are at 90 degrees. Okay, it's just that as boat pose, that as L-shaped handstand. I think you're muted, Elsa, sorry. Okay, and go ahead and watch here. So, next up, this is Ardha Shirsasana. Actually, I'll just show you out the middle of the room real quick, and then we can do it at the wall. So, interlace your fingers for headstand. Place your elbows shoulder width apart, right? And then the crown of the head in the hands. And we come up something like this. So we're not thinking about the upper back will round, so we're kind of in that taking the siesta at the wall position. So we want to move the upper back in. So we lift the shoulders, move the upper back in. If you're having a hard time getting it to move, you can bend your knees, that would probably help a little. Or you could even elevate your feet. We're just going to use these 3 blankets here. So if I come up higher in the feet, then that gives me a little bit more slack to move my spine. Can you see that? Also, if you're not really keen to put your head on the floor, it works just fine. Just keep it lifted, the shoulders lifted, keep the spine moving back toward the legs. In fact, it's actually another way to find that movement at the spine, is to pick the head up. So just starting with half headstand as a pose, feet on the floor, push your arms down, lift shoulders up, and then move your chest toward the legs, spine in, and hips high. Good. Okay. Keep your legs straight, hugging toward each other, hips high, like down the legs. Okay, come on down and rest. So that's the base. Next, we want to do this part of the wall. Ekapada, meaning one leg, okay? So it's the same stuff with the arms, the head, the spine. We want it moving in.
And then we're going to take one leg to the wall, or toward the wall. And that leg that's lifting needs to lift from the inner thigh. It needs to stay internally rotated. And this outer hip here has to keep lifting and hugging in so the hips stay square and we're not kind of leaning and buckling, all right? So we're going to do that with each leg, holding it for a few breaths in between.
Press your wrists down, lift your shoulders up. Move your chest back, lift your hips up. Lift from the inner thigh and the outer hip to stay square. Good. And do both legs, all in your own time. Awesome. And then take a rest when you've done both evenly, of course. And then we'll do a full headstand. So taking both legs up to the wall, or even in the middle of the room. So it's funny, I taught this class on Sunday. We didn't even get as far as y'all already are, so you're well-trained yogis for sure. So next up, headstand. I think you know the actions that will help bring you into alignment, but I want to encourage you to just find that stillness and even find kind of that happy place that we were talking about in the middle of the pose, because sometimes just being really quiet and doing nothing is its own kind of reward. Okay, so let's shoot for at least 3 minutes and see if we want to go to 5.
Wrists down, shoulders up, chest in, and keep that the whole time. And remember when we had that light in our head and it was rising to the crown, so think about that as you push from the roof of the mouth into the crown of the head. Of course you want to push through the arms too, but it's a full extension kind of pose. Keep the legs straight, the knees really tight. Pull the buttocks up toward the heels. And the big toe mounds together. And keep your gaze focused. So it's basically going down the tip of the nose and then finding something in that trajectory to focus on, a drishti, a gazing point.
It's really hard to tell, of course, on video and with this resolution and angles, but David, maybe it looks like you can pull the backs of your shoulders and heels up and a little more weight toward the elbows. Diane, in just the slightest way, turn your inner body toward the couch, just very slightly. Turn your inner body, twist toward the couch. It's so slight. And that sorts itself out in the weight of the arms, right? So which one's heavier? Remember that all of your muscles are working in the opposite pattern of standing up. So they're having to do this really weird lift to lift up toward the feet. And it's tiring because we haven't built a ton of endurance for it. But in building that endurance, we feel a lot more capable of just simply standing up bravely. Good. Keep stretching up through the inner heels, the inner thighs, inner heels, pressing onward and upward. Yes, good. So about 1 more minute. Lengthening to the end. 3 more really long breaths, sending them down to the ground, up through the inner heels. Great. And because you are all so awesome at this, let's come halfway down. Dandasana and Shirsasana. Hold that for a couple of breaths. So again, it's that 90 degrees of flexion at the hips. Good. Pause, lift your thighs, pull the belly in, and move your chest forward towards your toes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, and release. Take a little rest in, with your head on the floor, hips on your heels. Well done. Let the head rest heavily, the chest soften, the upper back spread, the lower back spread wide. And then lift your head up first, and then press yourself up with your hands. Okay. So let's move the mats back out. Find our way back to Tadasana, standing in the middle of the mat. Bring your fingertips together, bend your knees. Inhale, jump feet wide. Make sure they are as wide as the wrists this time. Then bring your hands onto your hips. Straighten your legs. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, roll the shoulders back, elbows a little toward each other. Keep that length in the front of your spine and fold forward at the hips. Once you're halfway down, place your hands on the floor underneath your shoulders. Press the tops of the thighs back. Lengthen the side bodies forward. Pull the inner armpits forward so the spine is getting some length here. Then lift your chin and melt your upper back in slightly. Keep the shoulders lifted, the belly lifted as you pierce downward through that upper back spine. The next stage, move your hands back between your feet. Bend your elbows straight back and curl forward with your head. Here, I want you to think about lifting the shoulders up away from your hands, but continuing to let your spine kind of release through like a long rope, just kind of sliding down through the quick draw. Shoulders up, head down, chest back between the legs. And then inhale from your legs and come back up to standing. And we'll take the C position, which means interlace your hands behind the back. You guys got it, okay. So inhale, lift your side chest up, and then exhale, shoulders back. Bring your shoulder blades onto the back as you roll those triceps in toward each other. Then fold forward.
Lift shoulders up, press chest back, let your head hang. Swing your hands away from your tail.
And inhale, come on. Release your hands. Step or jump your feet back together. Tadasana, stillness. Okay, so we're going to use blankets for shoulder stand, but I kind of want to get you to get the point of it anyway. So I call this no neck for obvious reasons, because it's like this. I want to lift my side bodies up, the shoulders float up, but it's coming from the armpit chest. To the point where it's like I have no neck. It's kind of disappeared like a turtle. That's how much my shoulders are up. And then also press them back without pulling them down. So it's up and back. The thing is, I actually do have a neck when I bring my chin to chest like shoulder stand, right? But it would be totally protected by the back of the shoulders, so by like the rear delt area, and there'd be no spine, no neck spine on the floor at all. So that would be what you'd have to be able to maintain to do shoulder stand without any props, like in the Ashtanga method, which is very questionable. Or if we're doing it to any length of time. We are going to use blankets to create all that padding behind the neck anyway, but I still want you to take the shoulders up and back, right? So let's get 3 blankets out. And, hold on. We'll be back in a sec. We will need those 3 blankets. But let's move back to the wall. And find 1 leg's distance away from the wall, okay? And that's where you're going to put your blankets, and I would put the edge probably like at the front of the pelvis, not the back of the butt. So right about there is going to be the edge. Okay, I'll mark that a little bit with my roll blanket because I didn't bring the stacks with me. Then I'll put 3 blankets right there. And we're going to call that 1 leg's length away from the wall. You'll notice I put the rolled edges of the blankets facing the wall because my head will be in between the wall and the blankets. The edges of the blankets should be the length of the leg, right to the base of the pelvis or the groin, so right there, not all the way back to the butt. Good, awesome. And then just watch here. I believe you've probably done this before. Heads on the floor, shoulders are on the blankets with enough room for when you roll to the top of your shoulders so you don't roll off. Okay, here we go. Feet on the wall, all right, to start. And then I'll clasp my hands and rock side to side, take my shoulders up toward my ears and also on the back. So that's that no neck. Okay, and then here I am. And I want to move my upper back in, like we've been doing all day. And the upper back moves in so that the chest can come to the chin, but we don't want to pull the chin to the chest. So it's a one-way thing. All right? You can have your hands on your back, whatever it is, whatever gives you the best result. So what I'm liking for today about these like half holds, so we could bring our feet all the way to the floor and that would be a full plow, is it's a little easier, and it's a little easier to hold and find that stillness. If it is not perfect, fix it. In Iyengar yoga, we get really particular. So if you found out like you weren't the right leg length from the wall, just come right out and fix that. It's not worth enduring it. Move the spine in, move the chest toward the chin, but keep the chin noble and upright. Lift the thighs, use the legs, push them up toward the ceiling to take a little weight off the spine. David, you could actually keep coming away from the wall, and that's what's going to allow you to get your hands lower without bending your knees. Or you could just kind of be with it with hands on hips, but these proportions aren't quite there yet. Now from here, you can stay with this. I'm just going to talk you through this stuff without demoing. Or lift one leg up. Keep one foot on the wall, one leg up. Get that foot directly above the shoulder, one line. And roll the inner thigh back, widen the hamstring. Then pull the outer hip up on the leg that's against the wall. Pull that away from the shoulder and hug it into its socket. And switch legs, just one at a time. Move your chest in, push your shoulders down, and keep those hips square. And then both, so just bring the one off the wall to meet it, and there you are. Now here's where you have to get really light. So press your shoulders down into the mat with whatever strength can be found in this odd position in order to lengthen yourself up. Pull your legs up, pull up. Because you have to find the length before you can find any kind of refinement. Just pull up, just get sucked like up in an array of like aliens light. You just have to get pulled up. And once you find length, you can start figuring out how to move your spine. Move your upper back in towards your chest. And it's hard, but it's something to think about. Diane, see if you can get your elbows closer together. And then even the shoulders, keep working them towards yours, closer together. Yeah, putting your feet back on the wall is great to get that because you don't have a blanket, so I'm going to just be really particular about your neck not pressing against the floor. Work to get your hands as low towards your ribs as you can to get more vertical. It also helps you press the spine in with the hands. You guys look great. From here we can go to Padasana, which is to bring the knees around the ears. When you're elevated on blankets, they may not totally reach the ears, and that's fine, but you just go in that direction. Maybe it's knees to the sides of the head. And the back's going to round here, so you can go back into flexion. Chin to chest. Let the back round over. And then take your hands behind the knees and hold the elbows. Keep following those exhales through kind of like a nautilus through the belly. So you're spiraling inward, kind of hollowing into those exhales to get deeper. And then to come out, if you can, release your legs and roll out, but don't let your head pop off the floor. So go slow and think about that. Shoulders in again. And not much is lost if it pops up, but it's something to work on. And then just rest. Just rest with your chest elevated and your head back. Take a few breaths, release the throat. Okay, and then roll to your side and back up to sitting. You can straighten out your mat, set the props to the side. So the classic counter pose to shoulder stand is Matsyasana, or fish pose. It helps release the throat. And we're going to see if we can progressively build this all the way up to the flying fish, because all the pieces have already been practiced. So we'll start with the first stage. We get into it like this: lay on your back, rock side to side, and get your hands underneath your hips with the arms straight so that your fingertips are probably down near your hamstrings. Then press the elbows into the floor, lift the chest. Take a moment here to get the elbows closer together and to really pump the chest up, right? Then take the head back and recline back into the floor. And pull your hands toward your elbows to keep that bend going in the upper back. We don't have to stay too long. Lift your chest, tuck your chin, and release. Okay, so you can do that again. You can skip it all, obviously, or we can go for the flying fish. So let me show you that. I should have done this in a little while, but I feel inspired, you guys. So come to the regular fish. Head on the floor. I have to check in, make sure that's my neck's cool with that. And then take the hands out. Keep this big bend in the upper back. Find that core strength. Remember, tone the pit of the abdomen. Pull the legs up. And then stretch the arms in the same angle as the legs. Flying fish. There it is. Good, so come to the regular fish. I guess that's the swimming fish. And make sure your head feels pretty happy to support you there. It's actually the chest doing the work, so you're not too bent in the neck. Then take the hands out, rock the hips, take the hands out. Exhale, tone the belly, pick up the legs. Keep lifting the legs, keep bending the chest, it works together. Then take the hands up, reaching the arms parallel with the legs. That looks great. You guys have such great awareness. Your arms are really parallel with your legs. You just don't always see that. Good. And then use your arms to support getting your head up. So push your elbows into the floor, lift your head, tuck your chin, and release. Okay. So you may need to roll to your side to see this. But I'll also just try to explain it. So we start laying on our side, kind of in a fetal position, but the hands are together like we're diving into that fetal position. That's the start. Okay. Belly's a little hollow, the joints are all stacked. And then it's like a circle with the arms. So watch this. I'll inhale, take the arm up by the ear. When it gets to that plane, I'm gonna rotate the palm to face up, and then keep going, sweeping the arm over into a supine twist. Okay, and then exhale, come back to the start, which is this diving into the fetal position, we'll call it. And then it's inhale, like up to 12 o'clock, and then the inhale becomes the exhale as I turn the palm up and sweep the arm out into a twist. I can do all those wonderful twist things with the belly, the shoulders, as you know. And then inhale, come back. And you can make it like a 2-breath rhythmic thing. Inhale, and then exhale. Or you can really slow it down and savor the pieces of it. It's up to you, okay? So let's go for about 1.5 minutes on this side, and then we'll roll over to the other side. Yep, start in palms together out front of the chest, kind of hollow the belly. And then inhale, sweep your arm up by your ear, overhead. Roll the palm to face the ceiling. And then exhale, continue sweeping it out to the side as you roll back onto your shoulders in a supine twist. Good. Then close the pose, bring your palms together, kind of like just closing the book cover. Yeah, so when you close, you can bring the hand straight over the top, just the top hands. And then inhale, reach your arm up to 12 o'clock, and then exhale out to 3 o'clock, or is it 9, but out to the side. Good. Maybe take a big breath here and widen. And then exhale, palms together. So that's the pattern. Keep going. You can go slow, or you can go with just 2 breaths per minute. I love this pose because it gets a lot done. It's this really wonderful twist and release from the spine, but it's also kind of a shoulder massage as they get rubbed against the floor. Go ahead and just roll over and let's do the other side. I think we'll actually do this twice on each side just because there's a lot of learning in the first round. And I want you to get to the part that just feels really delicious. Good. Start on your side and then make a circle. Inhale, arm overhead, and exhale out to the side. Take a breath there as you widen across the wings. And then exhale, hands together. And then from there, you decide. Keep going. Then let's take a turn on the other side again. And let's say 5 on each side, so we know we're evening things up. And after 5, we'll switch sides, do 5 more on the other side. And then after 5, roll back up to sitting, and I'll show you our last pose. So you'll need a strap, look here, and we'll lay on our backs and start with 90 degrees of flexion of the legs. You can pull on the strap to get the shoulders to the floor and the chest to lift. So that's first stage. And then keeping the spine neutral, so low back on the floor. Exhale, tone the pit of the abdomen, bend the elbows to the sides, and see about folding in half without the hips coming up off the floor and rounding. So if I do that, I can kind of trick myself into thinking my hamstrings are more open. We're going to borrow that space from the low back. So you can keep the sacrum stamped on the floor, straight legs, straight arms, and then exhale, bend the elbows to the sides, and fold in half-ish. And then stay there, but resist. Push the feet back toward that 90-degree place. Push back, take a deep breath in, and exhale, pull. Find a new edge, but resist. Push the legs back, like they don't want to fold. They're trying to get back to where you started, but you're going to hold them. It's going to work. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale. Maybe go a little deeper. Notice if your low back is starting to curl up off the floor. Keep it curled down flat. Keep the legs straight. Good. And I just love this as a hamstring opener because the floor really helps you keep the spine in alignment. Gives you a great frame of reference. So breath by breath, as much as you're stretching the hamstrings, create a resistance, a strength in the hamstrings, and that keeps you safe. The muscle you're trying to stretch feels insulated, then the nervous system says it's actually okay to go deeper. It's kind of confusing. It's almost kind of ironic that you have to strengthen your legs to stretch your legs, but that's how it works. Okay. So a couple more breaths, and then we're going to let it go and find Shavasana, your Shavasana. So if there's a way that you like to set yourself up with props, please go ahead. You're also welcome to just take Shavasana, just flat on the floor. If the lights are super bright, maybe turn down. And play with this concept of, by finding stillness in Shavasana, that you can find lightness. So another way to say that is, like, let your physical body, your muscles, your bones, just get heavy. Just get quiet and like as heavy as they could possibly be. So this is called the corpse pose, and the instruction is to just rest like you're dead, but get that heavy. So that's the stillness. And then notice how the inner body, like the energetic body, even the spirit, if you will, seems to kind of get light and expand or even float up. I'm not sure what your sensation will be, but just start with this idea of the heavy physical body and then see what gets lighter. Notice your breath again. Let each breath be a little fuller than the one that came before it. So we want to come out of Shavasana or meditation really slowly, they say. And if we do, then they say it's easier to get back to that deep place than if we're jerked out of it. So really just take your time. Begin to move again slowly. When you're ready, roll over onto one side and then back into sitting. Sit well with rounded hips and a long spine. Bring your palms together up to your forehead and then down to your chest. Bow your head to your hands. Namaste.